Hey everyone, my name is Eric Bond. I'm one of the co-founders at Hustle Fund. So if I were to challenge you to go to any venture capitalist website, hold your hand over the logo and then just click around. I think you're going to have a really hard time figuring out which website belongs to which fund because they all look the frickin' same. And one of the things that we really celebrate at Hustle Fund is having a little bit of a unique voice, or sharing a little bit of our weird selves, but we never really had the right kind of website and brand to express that. And what I'm really excited to announce today is we are officially releasing the launch of the new Hustle Fund brand and website. And this was only possible due to a great partnership with the team at Altalogy, our design partners. And we have two of our design leads, Wojtek as well as Marta, here today. Hello, you two.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, so what we're going to do today is celebrate, I guess, some of the things that we've been able to accomplish in terms of the results of this new branding and website. And also introduce to you, if you haven't heard of this team, the Altalogy team, because they're super talented and they've been delightful to work with. And wanted to kind of reveal a little bit about what it was like, this process of working with this team, the decisions that we've made. And maybe we can actually begin with some very quick introductions. So Wojtek, would you like to start? And who are you? And maybe what is Altalogy?
Okay, so Altalogy is a design studio that specializes in digital products. And personally, I was the design lead on the Hustle Fund project, and Marta is our head of design that was overseeing everything and making sure that it looks 11 out of 10.
Yeah, thank you. Marta, anything else to add to that?
Well, that was the most of it, but yeah, I had a great team to look after, so just a pleasure.
Yeah, that's right. And these are just two of the team members that are just showing up today, but there are several more team members as well. Marta, actually, do you want to give a quick call out to like some of the other folks who are involved?
Yes, absolutely, because it is also something that we've been talking even today with Wojtek, that we are always trying to have all the designers really present in the project. And you already met Zuza and Justina, who we really want to call out because they've been also working on the design from our side. So yeah.
Awesome. Well,
and the development team actually,
and
because
the development team
live
as well.
website is also the effort of Olivia and Zuza that collaborated on
and
the website.
Arek,
who was overseeing the process.
Awesome. Well, yeah, it was a big team effort, and we are really appreciative of all the great coordination on your side. And I'm wearing, by the way, a new Hustle Fund logo T-shirt right here, as you can see. And I think folks would love to take a look at some of the design decisions that we had made. So, Wojtek, would you like to go ahead and share your screen?
Okay, so basically, we're looking at the mood boards right now, and mood boards are the first part of the design process we have in Altalogy. So you can visualize the design process of our team as a funnel. So we start really broad, and then as we go to the next phases, we are tailoring down the product and we are tailoring down the designs for client needs and business goals and the visual goals too. So the mood boards for the Hustle Fund are actually the origin starts at our kickoff call, where we've met Eric in his garage, and he mentioned that he's really into those retro vibe, 8-bit pixelated artwork. So we looked at the references from the design, from art, from other websites, and we tried to find the greatest examples that fitted the three categories we've started with. So the first being the media and video production stuff, the second being more 80s retro vibe, and then third one being more like old Windows vibe. And it was the first starting point. That was the origin of our process.
Just before we even jumped to the mood boards, we had one of the best kickoff calls ever, and we got really amazing brief. So thank you really, Eric, for that, because everything was described there. It was just a pleasure to go through it. And additionally, and this is some behind the scenes thing from us, even though there are thousands of management tools, we've been through the whole process using just one Google Doc that Eric made in such a way that it was all we needed. So yeah, just a little
Thanks for saying that that was a pleasurable process. That was it ended up being an 80-page document that we created together. So
Yeah.
an awesome artifact that we could consolidate all that feedback there. But it was a lot of work from week to week to maintain that, but it worked.
Yeah, that's true. But it was our only source of truth. So it was actually quite easy to let everyone on the team know where they have to go to get to know everything. And the second thing that that I wanted to add, it's something that I actually started when I was calling out our team members. So first of all, we wanted everyone to get to know you, Eric, and to actually be able to listen to how you are explaining Hustle Found, so that we get the vibe, we understand what you want the brand to look like. And the second thing is that we also get the whole team working on two things at the same time. We've been working on the logo and on the UI. And because everyone was involved in both of that, we were actually able even from these mood boards to get the direction both for logotype and for the website. And I think this is something super important in our process, that we actually like combining those two together to create one online presence instead of two separate elements.
Yeah,
So,
I appreciate this. And one of the things, so that's a little bit of the behind the scenes that you just shared on the Altalogy side. On the Hustle Fund side, I think for founders who are listening to this today, one of the things I think that really worked is what I describe as a benevolent dictatorship. Meaning there are some times where you want to have input from their team to contribute to say, like, what do you think about this mood board, or even some of these logo options, which we'll see in a moment here. But there are times when you're the project lead where you just have to make the decision, regardless of some of the competing interests that you see. And I think that's really important to get a project moving forward, because I think something that we didn't talk about yet, Marta and Wojtek, is the fact that this took 3 months from start to finish, from like literally the kickoff to the full brand and website being deployed. In hindsight, I think that was a little bit too fast. Actually, I know it was way too fast. What do you recommend usually for clients that you're working with as you run these kinds of processes for, let's say, brand plus website in terms of time?
So in terms of time, the branding is a tricky moment, because for us, maybe we can jump to the branding part of the Figma.
Yeah.
And so we can show the main iterations that we had. And those are just some iterations that we've done. Probably behind the scenes, we've done much more. And the thing here is that it takes time, but we've been even today talking about that in the way that logo is like the tattoo. You've got it for a really long time, and removing it and changing would be painful and long process. So you rather be happy with what you get, because otherwise, you will be living with this logo. So that's why we wanted to do really a lot of iterations. And that's why we've been discussing with you every one of them. We've been trying to show the logo not only on white background, but in different combinations. So on the left-hand side, you can see the images of how we were experimenting with the different logo shapes, and to also use it on the website later. So as I said, those two processes were hand in hand. But generally, I would recommend experiment with the logo on the early stage as much as possible, iterate, and just make sure it is the perfect baby that you want to share next years with.
Yeah, one of the things I'm sure that your team found, let's call it a bit frustrating too, from our side, was, there's some things that we put in the document that we said that we wanted, that in practice, upon testing it with these logos and brands, didn't actually work. So at first we tried to do something that was like much more 80s driven, far more pixelated, right? But it just wasn't coming out, I think, in the way that expressed, I think, our brand. But we had to sort of go through that exercise and to find something that was a little bit more of a hybrid modern take. Yeah, I'm sure that's something common that you see with your clients too. Is like they say they want this, but they actually don't quite want that.
Yes, it's quite common. So I think we weren't exceptionally frustrated. I feel like yeah, the first thing is it's easier to see something than to imagine it. So at first we've been kind of pushing a little bit more into this retro 8-bit aesthetics, and then we move forward. But actually what we both liked is that at the final product and at the final website, we still have these elements of pixels, of pixel arts. So it is like we drifted from there in the main design, but we still were able to use it and have fun with that. So yeah.
Yeah, and I think that interesting part about the logo is that we actually had some different ideas in the beginning, and the team was like pushing back a little bit that, yeah, that arrow that we had originally is something that we really want to keep. Just keep playing with that, we'll find something extra. And yeah, we can do 13 iterations of different arrows in different styles and shapes. But in the end, no matter how we played around it, it was still just an arrow and just a different take on an arrow. And I think that the cool thing and the turning point that we had was the iteration that we are looking at right here. And that actually is something that built the new visual, that built the new color scheme and the direction for the further steps with the website. And as we're coming back to the final logo, I think that the most important part of it is, despite the fact it's just 4 arrows, it's not that big of a step from what you had before. It actually brings something new to the table, and it brings that inclusiveness. It brings the fact that your mission is that founders look like anyone and come from anywhere. And that arrow is actually, that set of arrows are actually representing that. And I think that the greatest proof that it worked is actually one of the comments you've left on the animation, that this is freaking cool. And you know that it's the moment when it clicked. It was the final one.
Yeah. This is it was really emotional actually to see this. You know, this is our team has been working towards Hustle Fund for 5 years, and we, as Wojtek mentioned, we have this mission that great hustlers look like anyone and come from anywhere. And we do think that the addition of more of these colors and this kind of chevron effect really start to encapsulate that. But there's also something I think that really inflected Wojtek and Marta, like how much we loved the logo itself, those arrows, is you mentioned that actually, if you look, that they're also designed to look like hearts on its side. And that's a very important thing for us. If you follow us on social media, founders, you'll see that we often use like the yellow heart as one of our key symbols. And that's very intentional because we are kind of hippie-like in terms of just wanting lots of love and joy out there. But yellow has been our prominent brand. So it felt like a lot of respect for our previous kind of branding and, you know, taking something interesting moving forward.
So I think that the logo brought us actually to the final website designs. And starting from the beginning, we had a few metrics that we needed to hit. So they were pretty important for you. And I think that there are 4 crucial points that make that website stand out. And the first is fact that, as you can see, that's plenty of subpages. And the new website is trying to take care of navigation between the pages. And we actually came up with something like a mega menu for the new website that is built with 4 main tabs that are tailored down to the users. So we actually group the users by founders, by investors. And then the 2 separate tabs are the education tab, where you can grow and learn, and the About Us, which is just for Hustle Fund, for the team and for the merge. And that approach with Mega Menu is helping to have all the links in one place, link all the newsletters, all the marketing campaigns. So no matter where you go on the website, you can always head back there, and it's always there for you. So you can navigate to all the, even the furthest part of the website. And the one neat thing that we also managed to get there are the highlights from the blog that are tailored to the sub pages. So if you are not sure where to go, you can always click on a cool article and read more about it, which was pretty handy. And I think that moving to the second big point that we had, it was pretty interesting. How you can prepare a portfolio page for someone who signed over 300 companies and want to maintain that list throughout the time. And one of the starting points was no logos. No way we are going to pull this off. How to make it happen? So we actually came up with a pretty straight and simple list that is highlighting all the companies. And as you said, you are investing in early companies. So the logos can change, details can change. So that list is taking care of that and is making your life easier, which is one of the main
Hopefully.
design principles.
Yeah, this is crazy because as Wojtek mentioned, I just want to reiterate, there's over 300 companies that we're listing across our funds 1 and 2. And it is a tremendous challenge actually, because people actually change websites, sometimes rebrand themselves to maintain a portfolio that size. But this is a pretty elegant solution, and using just text as a really classic looking design element for this page. I'm really happy with how it turned out.
Glad to hear that. So that was the second of the big things. I think the third one is actually the way how we managed to slip those retro vibe into the design.
Yes, and I think with that we can cover a little bit how we actually ended with this kind of buttons, because the buttons are kind of connected with this retro vibe, because they are like 8-bit buttons with 1 pixel moving on hover. But actually, to get there, we've been after the mood boards. We went to the stylescapes, and I wanted to talk about this because stylescapes are probably my favorite part of the design process. And because this is like the playground for designers. We just go there for every project. We, after the mood boards, we start with this playground, with the stylescapes, where everyone from the team can start thinking about how they want to express something, what ideas they have. There is the sky is the limit here. You can experiment, you can get crazy, you can play around with colors, with vibes. Everything is a little bit exaggerated because it is just to show what we actually can do. And usually in the real design, we are a little bit tuning it down to make it also serve the purpose, to make UX perfect and things like that. But this is this first moment when we actually can share ideas with you. And yeah, so this was also pretty awesome here.
This was a really fun part of the project, Marta. And I will say that this is a bit of a dangerous part of the project too. So from the Hustle Fund side of it, I started to share this with the team of just like, let's figure out like a direction that we're all excited about. But we had to keep it very time capped, of just like because everyone at this point feels like they're an expert designer when they're not, like from the client side of it. And this could turn into just like an endless loop. But I think we were able to move through it swiftly enough. But I mean, on my side of it, like at a certain point, we just had to make a decision and just say like, we're going to go with something along the lines of this. So I'm sure you encountered this also with your clients too, is like there could be this endless loop here. I'm not sure whether you have any comments or thoughts for potential clients who are watching today of like how to get through this part of the process, because it's really fun.
Well, I think this is supposed to be fun. I mean, this is not anything final. We are just testing. We are getting to know each other better. I think the stylescapes are the good starting point for discussion about style, about aesthetic, things like that. So that is one thing. And the second thing to have in mind is that at this point, we can totally mix and match everything. So you like one thing from Stylescape 2 and one thing from Stylescape 3, we can mix it. We can create later the key visual that is actually having parts of each of the stylescapes. So yeah, I think it is supposed to be playful.
Yeah, one of the things that's not showing here, sorry, I'll to cut you off there, Wojtek, is the thousands of Figma comments also that are taking place here. So just a thought for best practices, founders who are watching this, is Figma is an awesome way to get very specific pointed feedback directed to your designers. But I also do think it's worthwhile to copy that into a single source of truth Google Doc as well, which is what we did. It was a little bit of duplicative work, but at the end of the day, it helped us to create like a single audit trail as well for non-designers like myself to see like how we're evolving some of these ideas. Anyway, I want to mention that, but Wojtek, you're about to say something.
Yeah, I think that the key part of the thing that you just mentioned is to streamline the feedback. So there can be multiple stakeholders, but it's important to have one decisive person that is having the final vote. That's for starters. And the second thing that I wanted to touch on is actually for the stylescape in the process, you can visualize that as a bridge in between the references, the visuals, and everything that is not your brand into the final UI that is your brand, is your new website. And if we think of it that way, it makes it kind of easier to go from the stylescape to the final UIs and not to get stuck in the process and then reiterate and, you know, make a fifth version of that, because it should be just a starting point, more like a spark that empowers the new and final UI. And this is actually how the process looked like here. We had those stylescape. You felt that you're actually torn between third and fourth one, and we turn it into the first UIs. And this is how they evolve. We are going a step ahead, but we are taking the feedback, we are taking the information from what you've told us, and we are building on top of that. This is why this process is the iterative one. So with each step, we are one step closer to the final product.
Yeah, that's right. Man, this is bringing back some memories in the last 3 months and seeing what this process is all like. That was a lot of work already, and we haven't even gotten to like some of like the final output parts of it. Is there anything else in terms of the I guess some of these screens on this Figma, I guess when we're developing the website, that'd be worth calling out, because I'd love to also talk about the stamps and some of the unique I guess inside jokes that your team really nailed.
Absolutely. We also wanted to talk about the inside jokes, and actually the part where I stopped Wojtek from talking about the website is kind of this part. So we knew that you want to sound like people who are nice to meet, nice to talk with, who are cool, and it was all great. And you also shared with us these inside things like your lapped vans and hippos and all the things like that. And we were thinking how to connect the professional VC website with something that is much more easygoing. And that's why we use those pixel arts in few places. They are these Easter eggs throughout the website. And that's also why the buttons got this shape and not any other. And we actually have a bit more of those sprites. So I think we have them. Yes, exactly. So actually, we were playing around what we can do with Pixel Hippo, what we can do with Pixel Van. Can we? Yep. And this is something that can evolve and evolve in the future. So it can always expand.
Yeah, I just want to touch on this. So can you actually go back to the sprites again? Those illustrations, perfect. A lot of founders right here are not going to really understand many of these inside jokes unless you follow super closely on social media. But what makes it so meaningful for me when I saw the output of this stuff is that there are inside jokes that are really meaningful for the Hustle Fund team. So, you know, so much of the joy of this work is the fact that we get to work with such wonderful human beings on the Hustle Fund team side of it. And as you can imagine, as a team that's pretty close, we have lots of crazy jokes inside. And one of the things I just kind of smile at whenever I look at our new website and look at these stamps is just like, you know, our team is going to smile when they see this element or this element, this element. You know, they're going to know that it's about them, right? And that's enough. You know, it doesn't need to make sense for anyone else, because that's just something that's very special for us. But I will call out this, which is the hippo corn, especially the one farting rainbows, a little bit to the left there. Yeah, that is our new official mascot at Hustle Fund for sure. You know, hippos are something that Elizabeth is really obsessed with. You know, the unicorn, of course, is a concept of a billion-dollar company, and the farting rainbows is just, well, super hilarious and cool, right? So expect to see these stickers and this branding in a lot of different places across Hustle Fund moving forward too. This is so well done. This is one of my most favorite parts of this entire project.
We're glad to hear that, Eric. And actually, that was a pleasure to work with you for a whole team. And I think I speak for everybody that worked on the Hustle Fund project, that it was an amazing experience to work with people that really respect you as a partner, and it's not the client and agency relation, it's just partner to partner relation, which we really, really enjoyed. And I think that the part with us working as partners and being always, you know, like in discussion, feedbacking each other, the only proof we have that we need is that Figma consists of almost 600 comments that we've placed all over design. So these are 600 micro conversations we had just to make sure the design is pixel perfect and it matches both the business goals and the visual goals. And that speaks for itself.
We had such a great time working with the Altalogy team. I'm really happy too that you as well view this as a true partnership, because that's something that we aspire to, is that it doesn't just stop with a transaction like this, or just like the launch of the website and we're done. Working with your team has proven to me that, you're a team that we also want to grow with for a long time. And I think we accomplished a couple things with this project. To summarize, we have a unique voice at Hustle Fund that's a little bit irreverent, silly, self-deprecating, but also unique in that it's authentic to us. And the Altalogy team, Wojtek, Marta, the entire team did a great job, I think, in translating some of our unique weirdness into a website that really does work from professional purposes, but also, just our own personal vibes as well. But more importantly, too, just like from a strategic perspective, this was a really necessary project for us to work on, because we're trying to become as much an education company as we are a VC fund over the next few years. And while we didn't get to, I think, some of the nuances of some of the design decisions, the webflow decisions, the engineering decisions that the team has made, it does set us up for success in being able to build this infrastructure that we can grow with over time to produce more content, more newsletters, more blogs, etc. And that was something that was severely lacking in the previous work. So Wojtek, Marta, again, and to the entire Altalogy team, thank you so much for all this fantastic collaboration. We're excited to do more work with you. And for any founders who are listening as well, I encourage you to check out altalogy.com. Check out some of their services. You might even find Hustle Fund as an example testimonial on there at some point. But hopefully this video also accomplished the goal of giving founders a preview of what a rebrand and website development project could look like with a great partner. And also recommend a great partner to you as well, because I can't say enough great things. I'll leave you two with the final word if there's anything else that you'd like to share in this wrap up.
Yes, I think that we can only agree to what you've said before. It was a big process. It was a big project for us too, and we have many lessons learned from that one. And I think that along the road we learned to better understand the client and the scope of the project, and to make sure that the timeline are set and in place. And yeah, it was just a pleasure to work with you guys.
All right. Well, thank you both. And founders, hope that you decide to go on hustlefund.vc, check it out. If you're working on a new company that could use some pre-seed capital, hit that "What are you hustling" button, and we'd be happy to engage with you. All the best.